Last season's championship battle came down to the final moments in a photo finish between myself and Martin Truex Jr. for the championship, where Truex came out on top by a few 1,000ths of a second, and he goes out of his Cup Series career as a champion. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the NASCAR 85 Career Mode, to a brand new season here, fresh off of that disappointment of losing that championship in a photo finish. Truex goes out a two-time champion. He will, of course, now be replaced by Harrison Burton in that 19 car. A lot of new changes coming in this season that I'm very excited to show you guys, but we already have an announcement here for the first race of the season. Michael McDowell will make his final start in the Cup Series today in the Daytona 500. He originally planned to retire after last season, but wanted to compete in one final Daytona race. So front row, well field, the 34 car one last time before shutting operations down, and then Live Fast Motorsports will enter the Cup Series in the next episode in place of that 34 car. So we jump through right into this race weekend here at Daytona, and I know some of you guys might be new to this series potentially, so before the Cup race starts in the pre-race, I've brought in some other content creators to kind of give you an idea of what's going on within the career mode right now as you would get ready though here for the next era Energy 250 at Daytona, fresh off of our very first owner championship here in the truck series. As we don't drive anymore, we have subscribers in the car for each and every single truck race this season, just like last season. So for the first race of the season here in Daytona, we had subscriber Mason Nickel in the truck for us here as he went down towards turns one. Of course, as usual at a plate race, we always start at the back of the field now as he would get underway, just trying to really make that inside work. He actually wasn't right at the back because of some drivers failing inspection, just having some issues putting him at the back for the start of this race. But like I just mentioned, fresh off of our very first owner championship here in the truck series, we have now started our third season here as a truck series owner, and hopefully we can go back to back this season now, as last season was so strong. I think 6 or 7 wins if I'm not mistaken. It was such a good season, and hopefully we can continue that here, and it was a good start here to the season at Daytona in the truck series. Mason Nickel was working himself through the field here, just using this inside line to his advantage as he went up the inside of the 32 of Gustine, and he would just continue working his way through the field as this race went on. He would slowly but surely claw his way towards a top 10 position here in the later stages of this race in the next era Energy 250. So we come through now, approaching just the final few laps here. He had now moved himself in position to be in the top 5, right on the back of the 2 of Rajah Caruth. He immediately moves up to that right-hand side to try and make something work, but unfortunately he had some help for a brief moment there from the 38, but that would fade out here as he came through down the tri-oval, so he had to actually get back in line now, this being the final lap of the truck series race. And fortunately Mason actually got up the inside of the 2, then followed through with the drive to get up to the inside of the 38. So by the time he came through turns 3 and 4 for the final time here in Daytona, he was now up into P3 and now makes a move to the inside of Spencer Boyd down the front straightaway. It's not going to be enough for Matt Crafton, who will come through to win in Daytona, but Mason Nickel starts off the season for our team very well with a second place finish here in Daytona, so cannot complain about that whatsoever. Very solid finish, very satisfied with that as you see the rest of the finishing order on your screen. Angela Rush down there in P17, Jason White P20 to round that out. As rounding out the top 30, you got Ty Majeski and Austin Wayne Self at the bottom of the field. Now as we come through into the Xfinity Series side of things, this time our second season as an owner in Xfinity, we have a full-time driver and a brand new sponsor. There you see the Menards car, the number 77, driven full-time this season by Paul Menard. So very excited to see what he can do. This team was made by Lation. I've been pronouncing his name completely incorrect this whole time. I hope I got it right that time. He is on Twitter. I'll make sure to put his Twitter in the description and whatnot. But we got underway here to start the Xfinity Series season. Haley Deegan returns to the Xfinity Series this season as well in that 98 car. So she was actually at the back of the field, and look for a potential announcement maybe about her future in this career mode at some point soon throughout the season. Unfortunately, Paul had a very rough first lap, but he would start to work his way towards this pack and start making moves on this inside lane. So as the laps were winding on, just like the Truck Series race with Mason Nickel in the truck, he was able to now work his way towards the front. There was actually a 4-wide moment there with the 0 of Jeffrey Earnhardt, some contact into turns 1. They would all keep the cars going in the right direction, thank goodness. And now Paul would try to get back on the journey of working his way through the field. So we cut through actually to the end of this race here on the final lap in Daytona, and Paul unfortunately really hadn't gotten very far. He was to the back of the 4 into turns 3 and 4 on this final lap here in Daytona, up the inside of a rookie of Ty Gibbs in that 19 car, a fellow Menard sponsored car, as it goes down this front straightaway for the final time. And I cannot believe I'm saying this, but Mike Harmon would come through to win here in Daytona in the NASCAR Racing Experience 300, as Paul Menard would bring us home P14. So a bit of a rough start to the season, but of course there's a lot of time to make up some points and whatnot there. As you see, Mike Harmon with the victory. I was very, very surprised to see this happen when I pulled up the race results. I had no idea. I didn't even realize it happened when I was recording it live in the race, but once I pulled up the race results, very surprised to say the least. But congratulations, I guess, to Mike Harmon on picking up the victory here in Daytona, as you see the rest of the finishing order. But now we get ready to focus in on the Daytona 500 here for the Cup Series for the 4th full-time season in our career mode. Very excited to see what we can do. We've had chances to win this 500 before, and we've come up short with very close calls here. As you see, Daytona International Speedway with Microsoft Flight Simulator coming in here now as we would get underway for our qualifying attempt. I knew we were going to qualify last year, but I still at least like to just go out and make a lap just for, I guess, immersion purposes here now as we would get underway here to start our quali lap. So the goal was a 45.0. There was no chance I was going to hit that now as we came through into turns 3. Just full out, just trying to hold that inside line the best I can, and we come through to cross the line with a 46.577. And sure enough, for the Daytona 500 here in Season 4 of the Cup Series, we qualify P40, and this is going to be the 2023 season, I should mention here now, as I implemented it as we started our Cup Series career in 2020. So this will be the start of the 2023 series season, quote-unquote, now, as you see the rest of the qualifying order here. And up in the top 10, we got Hamlin rounding out the top 10, but on pole, it's going to be Austin Cindric in the 33 car for Penske Racing. We're live at Daytona International Speedway for the Daytona 500 here today. 40 cars set to battle it out for the victory now as we're ready to get going here for the pace laps now as we get ready to take the track. So as I mentioned, I brought in some fellow content creators of mine to kind of give you guys an idea of all the changes, especially if you're maybe new to this series, that are going to be coming in this season with the addition of me modding the game and whatnot, and other modders helping me out getting new paint schemes and stuff in the game. So before we hop into the race, we're going to send it over for a few minutes to some fellow content creators, starting with Rusty Walrus.
Thanks, Gary. There's so many new changes to the Cup Series this season, from the paint schemes to driver changes, and even a few new teams. But what's most interesting to me is that NASCAR announced over the offseason that they'll be hosting the All-Star Race at Martinsville Speedway. But not only are they moving to the paperclip, they'll also be having the race open to every full-time team in the series, but with one catch. Each car will have an equal spec engine for the race to keep the competition as equal as possible, and I cannot wait to see how that plays out. Over to you, Joey.
Thanks, Rusty. The Cup Series has a new set of rookies this season. With Justin Haley going up against Sheldon Creed for Rookie of the Year, this season's rookie class is going to be much smaller than recent seasons. But it's going to be very intriguing to watch Haley in the 16 battle it out with Creed in the 37. But watch out for Derek Kraus as well in that rookie battle, guys. I think he's going to make a big name for himself. Who do you think will come out on top of this battle, Gary?
My guess for sure is going to be the 16 of Justin Haley. He's got a really fast car, so I think it's a no-brainer for him to win Rookie of the Year. But, of course, anything can happen, so we'll have to wait and see in the long run. But now we'll send it over to Ed Soundhead.
Hey, thanks, Gary. This season, we'll see Austin Cindric get a top-tier opportunity in the Cup Series as he moves over to a 4th Penske car to drive the 33 Moneyline Ford Mustang. Cindric drove the 21 last season as a rookie and even drove the 22 for a race at Kansas in replace of the suspended Joey Logano. Cindric barely missed out on the playoffs, but looks to build upon momentum and pick up a win or two this season and have a strong playoff run. What do you got, Keenan?
Thanks, Ed. This season we got a few new teams in the Cup Series, plus a team expanding to 4 cars. Kaulig Racing will be making their Cup Series debut after tremendous success in the Xfinity Series. Kaulig will be fielding the 16 car driven by rookie Justin Haley. A Kaulig spokesperson told me that they're looking to contend for the top 20 in points this season, and anything more would be a huge success. The other new team is Red Bull Racing, who returns to the Cup Series after a decade hiatus. Red Bull is aiming to put their number 82 Toyota in the playoffs this season, with veteran Casey Kane behind the wheel. Of course, we cannot forget that Penske is expanding to a 4-car team, with Austin Cindric being pegged as their 4th driver.
Thanks, Keenan. I just want to quickly mention to you guys about paint schemes. So the 99 of Daniel Suarez you just saw there, that was actually made by Dale Cole. There was a bit of a miscommunication on who actually made it and whatnot, but we've got it clarified. It was Dale Cole, and I'll link his creation in the description on the NR 2003 paint scheme mod page of Soundhead Racing. So I'll put that in the description. Make sure to check it out. And now we'll send it over to Michael Mrucz, who has a little bit of information on Harrison Burton.
Thanks, Gary. This season, we will be seeing multiple roster changes, aside from the new teams entering the series. Harrison Burton shifts over from the 95 car to replace the newly retired Martin Truex Jr. in the 19 car. Burton says he aims to win at least 3 races this season and be a strong playoff contender. Ryan Preece shifts over from the 37 to the 21 car this season after impressing Penske Racing in the Pocono doubleheader races last season, where equal engines were used. Preece said he's confident he can be a playoff contender in the 21 car and contend for a win or two. Over to you, Gator.
Thank you, Michael. We've already got 2 brand new teams entering the Cup Series this season, but over the last few days, rumors have been circulating of a potential new team or 2 coming next season already. Levine Family Racing had confirmed that they will be shutting down operations at the end of the season, and the rumor is that a second 2311 car will come in place of that. 2311 Racing has declined to comment on this rumor. Current HMS driver Gary Owen is also rumored to be interested in starting a Cup team next season. Sources have been mentioning a potential partnership between him and the musical act The Chainsmokers, following a similar formula to 2311 and Trackhouse. What do you got over there, Camelot?
Thanks, Gator. Heading into the new Cup season, there's already a big rumor circulating that NASCAR is looking into starting a brand new series that involves the dirt late model cars. There's not a lot of information known yet, but it appears to be involving many past Cup Series drivers. NASCAR has declined to comment, but credible sources have said to expect an announcement within the first 10 races of the season. I'll send it back over to you, Gary.
Thank you to all the content creators that came in to help us out today here for this, to kind of get you guys up to speed on what's going on. I would have loved to use some different camera angles here and there, but I mean, with the way the game is and stuff, it's a little bit limited. But either way, we're ready to go green here for the Daytona 500 now. Hopefully you're all caught up and ready to go and now know what's going on here as we get ready to get this new season underway, as the green flag is out here in the Daytona 500 from the 39th starting position. The 95 rookie of Derek Krauser, and that 95 actually starts in that last position after being sent to the back here. So Kraus, actually, you're going to see that Lightning McQueen paint scheme quite a bit throughout the season. Like I said, this will be the final season for that Levine Family Racing team here in the career mode. You might see potentially a second 2311 car next season, and you saw or heard RawGator mentioning some other things, like I might have my own Cup Series team next season as well, so definitely stay tuned for that, as well as a potential new series even on the way. So I'm very excited to kind of open up a little bit about that later on in the season. But we're underway here into turns 3 on this first and opening lap. Wasn't a great start. We're down to 40th place now as the 95 of Kraus moved up in front of us, but already got some 3-wide action going on. Currently the 88 of William Byron in that Liberty University Chevrolet Camaro out front. He is in an alliance with our team, as he is on that Dale Jr. Jimmy Johnson collab team called Earnhardt Johnson Racing. And of course we also have those 2 new teams that was mentioned as well, of Colleague as well as Red Bull being back in the Cup Series. So very excited to see what happens this season with all this new stuff going on as well now, and just can't wait for the future. But we come through towards the end of lap 2 now, and we were finally starting to move our way forward, just a few positions in front of the 17 as well as the 4 of Kevin Harvick. Harvick's future in the career mode is very up in the air. I would look for potential news on that coming up soon as well here, pretty early actually in the season potentially. Now as we came through towards the end of lap 3 though, we were now up the inside of the 51 of Joey Gase, and just slowly but casually moving our way forwards here up to P33 as we went down into turns 1. The 88 of William Byron was still out in front at this point. He was doing a very good job just kind of commanding the field at this point here, as I had help from the 4 of Harvick, the 2014 Cup Series champion. He picked up only 1 win last season in the career mode. We were now though up to the inside of Harrison Burton in that 19 car. Behind him he had the number 14 of Chase Briscoe, who picked up 3 wins last season in the career mode. Already after just 2 seasons for Briscoe, he's got 5 career wins. So definitely always look for that 14, especially in season number 3 of his Cup Series career, to definitely be a threat throughout the season and maybe even be a championship contender later down the line. But we're just kind of chilling here on the inside line as number 88 of Byron continues to lead. I finally got all the numbers fixed and whatnot. You're going to see the correct numbers on the track map as well in the point standings, the race results for all of these modded cars. Like last season, the number 5 of Kyle Larson actually had the number 88 on the track map and in the results and whatnot. We've got that completely fixed, so hopefully you guys enjoy that. I remember a few of you really wanted that to be fixed, as well as I actually capitalized the B in Matt DiBenedetto's last name. I know a few people were saying I really got to fix that, and I finally finally got that fixed as well now, as we were up the inside now of Kyle Busch, though 3 wide into turns 3 on lap 6 of this first stage, up the inside of the 21 of Ryan Preece, who moves into that Wood Brothers Racing car for the first time this season, as we get to the back of the 48 of Alex Bowman. And once I got kind of to the back of the 48, I kind of backed it off a little bit. I was trying to kind of help out Alex and try to move our way forwards, because we've done a really good job working with Alex Bowman at these plate tracks within the last season or so, as we were all kind of lined up behind Kyle Larson, who has a brand new fresh paint scheme on that number 5 car, the Brandt Camaro, up in front of us there as we go down into turns 3. So I expect to see better things from Larson this season. Now, as there's actually trouble though in front of us already, the caution is out. Is for the 88 of William Byron, who has a tire failure going into turn 3. We saw him leading a bunch of laps at the start of this race, and now he blows a right front tire. Caution is out, and Byron will not be out of the race. This is not a DNF for him. He will still remain in the event, but he will have to go to the back of the pack as he is coming into the pit lane to repair his car. A few drivers actually decided to come in along with Byron, like Todd Gilliland and whatnot, so we actually gained 2 spots on the pit lane and move up to P15 behind our rival of Joey Logano. We've been working hard lately trying to get Joey from being a rival and get him back to friend status, but I have not succeeded whatsoever at that. But hopefully at the start of the season, we can change that, as we're underway with just 3 laps to go already here in Stage 1. Corey LaJoy finds himself out in front of the field. Bubba Wallace in that 23 DoorDash car up in the mix, finally got a DoorDash paint scheme for that 23 car. I saw Christopher Bell in the 20 DeWalt up there as well, and we got the new team of colleague with Justin Haley actually up there leading that outside lane. Not a good restart though for that outside lane here as we come through out of turns 2, going down this back straightaway 3 wide with both Matt Benedetto as well as Anthony Alfredo, but we get cleared there, pull up alongside the number 7 McLaren of Zane Smith here in his second season of his Cup Series career. McLaren was able to pick up 1 win last season in the career mode with Eric Jones at Michigan. He made the playoffs and didn't go very far. He made it to the second round. Smith, he missed the playoffs completely, as we're now up the inside of that 99 of Daniel Suarez as we came through to start the final lap. I mentioned about that paint scheme being made by Dale Cole, so once again check that out in the description here as we go down into turns 1. I actually backed out there to make sure nothing happened between myself and Logano, because if I stayed up his inside there, he was going to try and chop my nose and it would not have ended well. So we come through to turn 2 up the inside of our teammate Kyle Larson, and I decide, you know what, we got to go for it here and try to get stage points. So we make it 3 wide with Joey Logano down the back straightaway. Christopher Bell currently out front as we go down towards turn 3. Bubba Wallace right behind him, but once again I get cleared by the 22 into turn 3. We're side by side with Larson in that number 5 Brandt Chevrolet Camaro here as we come through out of turns 4. Haley as well on the outside as we go down this front straightaway, coming through to the green checkered flag for stage 1, 3 wide at the line, but it is the 20 of Christopher Bell winning stage 1. We come through to get P10 just barely over Justin Haley there in that number 16 car.
Good job working through the field there. Sets up nice for stage 2.
Thanks. Yeah, I did my best there, Jay. Hopefully we can get up there and maybe take the lead here, command the field. That'd be really nice, make it a lot easier on us. But yeah, the car feels good. I think we got something good here for this race. There you heard myself on the radio. You're going to kind of hear hopefully a little bit more of crew chief kind of call-ins in the radio kind of segments throughout the career mode this season, and we're going to have Jay doing that. You're going to hear a little bit of a broadcast booth type thing as well later in this race potentially now, as we would come into the pit lane for 2 cans of fuel as well as 4 fresh tires and get ready to take the green flag here from the 9th position. We gained 1 spot there on the pit lane, overtaking Corey LaJoy. He was in the mix on that restart for the stage victory. Of course, fell down quite a bit. Now as we're back underway for the start of stage 2, and of course we're going to bring back AMP for the season, so we will go through into the AMP segment. There you had the AMP segment here in Daytona. Now for the Daytona 500 now as we run P8 currently as we go down into turns 1. I wanted to do AMP sponsored by AMP Energy, but I didn't want to risk any copyright issues, so I actually decided to leave them out of that now as we're up the inside of the 23 of Bubba Wallace there in that 2311 DoorDash Toyota Camry. As we go down this back straightaway, he had a very solid stage 1, was up there in second. You see a lot of these new modded cars like Bubba Wallace, Austin Cindric, all up in the mix. Justin Haley as well behind me. Christopher Bell leading the way. Michael McDowell in his final Cup Series start right now up in P3, trying to do what he did in real life and win the Daytona 500 now. As we were having an opportunity to pass that 22 of Logano, we make it happen. So now we get a little bit of relief, not having to deal with that 22 at least for a few moments. We get all the way up to P3 behind Noah Gragson, his second season in that one car, but his third full-time season here in the Cup Series. Is his rookie season. He was in that 77 Spire car before it shut down in the career mode. Now is out to actually go up the inside of Gragson here, down the back straightaway on lap 4 in stage 2 into turn 3. I didn't really have a whole lot of help here as I went down into the corner, so I was relying on Denny Hamlin to get to the back of me very quickly. Hamlin came up short of a championship again last season in the career mode. He gets to the back of me, gives me a big push down this front straightaway as Christopher Bell clearly has a lot of speed in that 20 car, doing a tremendous job commanding the field here as we came through to cross the line going down the front stretch, just hoping that Hamlin can push me to the inside potentially soon here to his teammate of Christopher Bell, but that's not going to happen because a caution comes out here in Daytona in the second stage, and this is going to set us up on the outside here on P2 for the restart as nobody will be coming into the pit lane. So unfortunately, if it wouldn't have been a caution there, I think we could have got the lead from Bell really quickly down the back straightaway potentially, but now we're going to have to set up here on this front row on that second lane, but hopefully we have Hamlin who's going to be able to push me here to the lead. But Anthony Alfredo actually DNF from the race. He brought out the caution. He is done for. The first DNF of the season unfortunately goes to Anthony Alfredo and the start of his second season in the Cup Series. Now as we are back underway just past the halfway point here in stage 2 of the Daytona 500. Noah Gragson there in P3. He's right up the back of that 20 of Bell. I have quite the disconnect actually to the 11 of Denny Hamlin. It appears he's actually going to get taken 3 wide maybe as well by the 34 of Michael McDowell into turns 1, but McDowell actually fades in, so Hamlin now settles back into P2 and gets right up to the back of myself here, and he's going to try and give us a push down the back straightaway. As you see myself side drafting that 20 of Bell, doing everything I can to pull him back and give myself, of course, a better opportunity to get clear by the time we go down into turns 3. Now Hamlin once again under attack from the 34 of McDowell. He has been taken 3 wide, as I'm not sure really who I'm trying to pick up at this point now. As I pulled up to try and get the 34, he seemed like he had more momentum. There's a little bit of contact made between myself and the 20 of Christopher Bell as I'm just trying to side draft him, but not trying to run into him. Unfortunately, I did hit him a few times there, but it did not turn into anything, thankfully. But now I would continue to get help from McDowell now on the outside lane, but he was giving me such a huge push that it was kind of pushing me up the track in the corners, and that was really allowing the 20 car to be able to actually get clear of myself down the back straightaway. Now as the 1 car actually of Gragson disconnects from the 20, so now no bumper to bumper lock between them. It should give us an opportunity, but unfortunately it does not. We go into turn 3 and we lose even more time. So by the time we came through to lap 10 in turns 1 and 2, we actually get cleared by the 1 and the 16 of Gragson and Haley. So I drop back down to the bottom and now pick up Kyle Busch, our former teammate who had a chance to get his 4th championship last season, and Ty Jeff Gordon unfortunately didn't happen. A bit of a check up there from the 16 and the 1. I take it to the inside. All of a sudden we have a chance to get back up to 2nd place, but once again I have no help. Bell actually remains up on the top and holds on, but I would end up getting help from Kyle Busch and get towards the inside of the 20, but as we came through to turn 2, the 18 actually hangs me out. I was expecting him to go even further to that double yellow line with me. Nope, he stays in the middle. We get hung out to dry. No help whatsoever. The 96 of Brandon Jones goes by. The 16, the 23 of Bubba Wallace, the 34 of McDowell, and now the 7 McLaren Camaro of Zane Smith, as well as Joey Logano, the most recent Daytona 500 winner of the career mode. All goes by as finally our teammate Chase Elliott decides he's going to come up and help myself here down the front straightaway. So we have to try and settle in and get back into the mix. We were now up the inside of Logano here with just 2 laps to go in stage 2. Unfortunately, he was trying to push the 34, so he wasn't even trying to run into me, fortunately. So we came through to start now the final lap of stage 2, now up into the 8th position as we go down into turns 1. Kyle Busch has taken command of the Daytona 500 over 2nd place of an affiliate teammate of his, of Brandon Jones in that 96. As we're going to take a 3 wide up the inside here, down the back straightaway, try to get a top 5 in stage 2. Smith in the middle. Bubba Wallace there up in P3 having a great run once again in stage 2. He finished 2nd in stage 1 and is looking to have a strong result here in stage 2. He actually moves up a lane, and I'm going to follow through here up the inside as we exit turns 4. for Kyle Busch. Brandon Jones P1 and P2, but myself is going to move up in front of the 23 of Bubba Wallace and get P3 at the line here for stage 2. So a bunch of points there, 8 points for us in the second stage as Bubba holds on for 4th. Zane Smith rounds out the top 5, and Joey Logano gets the last stage point, rounding out the top 10. So a really good stage 2 for us, I felt, as honestly, I think if we didn't get hung out by Kyle Busch, we might have been able to actually get up to the lead, but I mean, of course, we'll keep that in mind for later in the race, when it comes down to maybe choosing to help Kyle Busch or someone else as we get ready, though, to go green for the third and final stage here of the Daytona 500. There you see Eric Jones actually towards the bottom of the field, so is Blaney, Daniel Suarez, Kyle Larson, Kevin Harvick, but we get ready to go green here from P3 on the inside line of row number 2 now as Kyle Busch, Brandon Jones on the front row. The green flag is now out here in stage 3. It will be 16 laps to go here, and it is going to be very close on the fuel situation. We have 15 laps of fuel, and usually the way plate racing works here, we'll likely end up having to pit if it stays green now, as it's very hard for me, at least, to save fuel at a track like this in the NASCAR heat games, but I end up having a pretty poor restart, and that allows the 23 of Bubba Wallace to get clear of myself. The 16 of Justin Haley is going to go through to my outside as well as we come through out of turns 2. Joey Logano even in the mix on my outside, and then I have help hopefully coming from the 34 of Michael McDowell. So now down into P6 here as we go down this back straightaway into turns 3. The 96 of Brandon Jones actually got hung out, so he's going to fall down the order a little bit there to the at least front bumper of Zane Smith as we go by on the inside. We now move up into P5. I have an opportunity right here to move up the inside of the 22. I didn't take it because I knew he was just going to run me out of space. Right here is where that would have happened. So I just kind of stay in behind him as we come through to complete this first lap of the third and opening stage. You see Kyle Busch goes up to protect that outside lane as he's got the 23 Bubba Wallace up there into P2 trying to put some pressure. The 16 and the 22, they cannot decide on what lane they want to run, so I was just kind of letting them figure it out because I didn't want to take a risk and go up the inside and then get crowded off the track by the 22 of Joey Logano. So we come through down the back straightaway. I was looking up the inside right here though into turns 3, and it does not end well. Sure enough, a little bit of a crowd from the 22, but I pull out of it. Fortunately, that doesn't turn it into anything, but we had a huge run down the front straightaway now to the outside. Some contact between myself and the 22 of Logano. He kind of just came up and rubbed my door a little bit now as we go into turns 1, kind of setting the tone of how he's going to play it late in this race now with less than 15 laps to go. So we exit turn 2 and try to build up another run on the back of the 22 as we come through out of turn 4. Sure enough, I lunge to the right-hand side at the end of lap 37, side draft him on the exit of the corner, even down into the tri-oval now in front of that, halfway in front of that 22 as we cross the line. No help from behind as we exit the tri-oval, some contact with the 22. He puts us in the outside while Logano just door slams us as we go down into turns 1, and this is going to cause huge trouble into the corner. I slide up on the track. The 33 of Cindric nearly goes up and over as he's on top of the 14 and the 17. A big incident there as the caution comes out here at Daytona International Speedway late in the third and final stage as Logano just destroyed us. He tried to destroy us. He door slammed us into the wall and nearly ended our whole day.
Just stay calm. That was all on Joey. We've still got time.
That was one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. I don't know what he was trying to do. I cannot believe we didn't just clean out everybody. But yeah, tell everyone I'm sorry about that because that was really bad. We almost cleaned out everything. There you heard myself on the radio. Honestly, what kind of caused me to go on the track when I went down to the apron to try and play it safe, but I carried way too much speed into turns 1, and then I couldn't decide if I wanted to come back on the track or not, and I tried to back it down. I slid right back up in front of traffic. It was really bad. I had to come into the pit lane, but here's the replay. The 22 just door slams us. There's nothing else about it, and unfortunately, right here, I couldn't, like I said, I was very indecisive, and then I was just carrying too much speed. On the track we go. The 33 nearly goes up and over. Very unfortunate for Austin Cindric now, as that would cause quite the incident here in Daytona.
Well, we saw what happened there with the 22, Gary. How would you describe what just occurred on the track?
Absolute stupidity from the 22, to be honest with you, Andrew, but, I mean, it's okay. We'll probably still beat him here. We got time. We'll see what happens. There you heard myself on the radio with Andrew Wisdom now as we get ready to go back green here in Daytona. It'll be now 10 laps to go from the 24th position. I did pit for 2 tires, I think it was. Some of the other drivers did not take any tires, and that's why we lost the spots. But obviously that was the least of my worries about everything that just happened right here. So we were now P24 as we go down towards turns 1. Very annoyed with the 22 of Logano. I guess I just don't know what in the world his AI was doing, but unfortunately it caused an incident for Cindric now, as fortunately Cindric and everybody else is still in this race here as we go down this back straightaway to the back of the 47 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. We would actually get in behind him into turn 3. Then the 41 of Cole Custer actually hit me in the left rear, shot me up towards the wall, so I got a little bit of damage on the right side from that. He completely caught me off guard. Fortunately, we didn't really lose anything. We get back going here, 3 wide on the outside as we come through to cross the line. 9 laps to go as we have help from our affiliate teammate William Byron, and he has help from the number 82 of Casey Kane in Red Bull's first race for their comeback here into the NASCAR Cup Series, as we have 9 laps to just work our way through the field here. But of course we got to find an opportunity to get back down to that inside line as quickly as possible here, as we are now 3 wide on the outside, so not doing anything to help myself right now as we go down this backstretch with less than 10 laps to go, as Kyle Busch continues to lead the way and just kind of command the field. He really just once he took the lead in stage 2, he's just been in control of this thing and definitely in position to potentially win his first ever Daytona 500 now, as I'm still having trouble getting down to that bottom lane. So I was just really desperate at this point to try and find that opportunity to get to that inside now as we come through to 8 laps to go. Running out of time really quick. We're down to P32, and then by the time we came through down the back straightaway, I decided to force it up in the middle between the 41 and the 10 of De Benedetto and Custer. I tried to go across the front of the 10, and I realized I was going to cause a crash if I did that, so I kind of backed out of it and stayed 3 wide in the middle here as we come through the center of the corner now, as the 10 is going to get in front of us. There's trouble actually in front of us, and that's going to bring out a caution late here in Daytona. Eric Almirola in the 43 car for Richard Petty Motorsports blows a tire, and now he's going to go to the back of the field, and this is going to force a late race restart to decide the Daytona 500 victory here, as we are now P31 for what could be the final restart of the day. Not in the position, of course, that we would like to be in now, behind our teammate of Kyle Larson now, as the green flag is back out. 4 laps to go in the Daytona 500. Kyle Busch still out in front, in command of this 40 car pack here as we get back underway. I guess the 39 car pack due to Anthony Alfredo being out, as you see. A bit of a slow start from that outside lane, the 14 of Chase Briscoe on my outside, and then a bit of a slow start from myself as well now as we go down into turn 1, trying to close up to the back of the 5 of Kyle Larson. But with 4 laps to go, we find ourselves down in P30, all because of just that absolute mess with Joey Logano and the pit stop. So we got to be desperate at this point. We got to be very aggressive, try to make any move that we can and get ourselves towards the front. I really didn't think we were going to have a chance to win, of course, at this point, but just try to salvage the best finish that we can out of it. Now as we go down into turn 3, we have help from the 32 of Corey LaJoie, but I couldn't really take that run anywhere, so I just had to stay in line behind the 5 of Larson. But this inside line moving through pretty quickly as we exit turn 4. There you see our other teammate of Alex Bowman on the outside is going backwards. Larson and myself going forwards here as we come through to the final 3 laps of the Daytona 500 here. Now as Kyle Busch continues to lead down the back straightaway, though, I decided to take a 3 wide up the inside. No time to help our teammate of Kyle Larson. We just got to get a move on it and get anything we can get out of it here in these final few laps of this race. Is Kyle Busch, no pressure at all. I don't know what it is, but once he got that lead, no one's been able to do anything about it now as we come through out of turns. We're still side by side with Larson in that Brandt Camaro now as we come through to start the final 2 laps here in Daytona. Now up into P20, we could potentially still get a top 10 out of this now, as you see Joey Logano on the far outside there in that 3rd lane as we go down into turns 1. He's falling down the order. Chase Elliott just in front of the 8 car of Tyler Reddick. I clipped the apron a little bit, unfortunately. Fortunately, though, nothing bad comes out of that, but you see Harrison Burton in that 19 car. He's even further on the outside now as Logano tries to get back down into that 2nd lane. McDowell in his final race there in the middle. We make it 4 wide down the back straightaway as we approach the final lap here in the Daytona 500, but as we go down into turn 3, it's not going to work out very well. No space between myself and Reddick. We're making contact. We're colliding. We're nearly crashing as we have help from the 22 from behind. Somehow we all keep it straight and continue on our way. But Logano, he was just trying to plow me through that, of course, being my rival, and that made things so much worse. But we come through to start the final lap. Somehow did not crash. Kyle Busch leads the way as we get to the back of the 34. McDowell, no time to waste. I go up the inside of him here as we go down into turns 1. Zane Smith and that number 7 McLaren in the mix as well. Chastain just in front of us. Hamlin side by side with his own car, driven by Bubba Wallace now as we exit turns 2. Elliott moving up towards the top 10 as we go down this back straightaway 3 wide. There was a bit of a side draft pulling myself back, and I didn't have a whole lot of help now as we run P16 on this final lap here in the Daytona 500 into turns 3 for the final time. Kyle Busch out in front for a few more corners, looking for his first ever Daytona 500 victory over 2nd place now. Cindric, who almost flipped over earlier, moves up into P2 as we come through down the front straightaway. Kyle Busch will win his first ever Daytona 500 as we come through to cross the line behind behind the 34 of Michael McDowell for a bit of a disappointing finish here in the Daytona 500 of P16. And that incident with Joey Logano sparked it all to get us in the spot we were in, and we had to play catch up for the rest of the race. And unfortunately, it turned out to be a P16 finish here in Daytona. Very unfortunate, of course, there, as you see the rest of the finishing order on your screen. To round out the top 20 was the number 19 of Harrison Burton, actually. Logano finished a few spots worse than us. I called it on the radio there with Andrew Wisdom up in the booth. I said we're going to beat the 22. Sure enough, we did. As you see the rest of the order, Keselowski, DeBenedetto, Bell, all down there towards the bottom. Bell did a great job earlier in the race and, of course, got shuffled out towards the end of that thing, unfortunately for him. But, as always, if you guys enjoyed this episode, you do know what to do. Now, as we're going to check out the point standings, though, for each series before we end it, just to get an idea of what the playoff grid already looks like after just one episode, especially with the win in your in format. Every single race is just so important nowadays now as you're going to see the point standings. So we go to Las Vegas in the next episode, so hopefully we can have a strong run there. I honestly believe, I might be wrong, but I think that's the first ever Daytona 500 in our Cup Series career where we did not finish in the top 10. We've been in the mix for the win each time, and unfortunately just didn't work out after that contact with the 22 of Joey Logano there. As you see, the playoffs for the Truck Series, Tony Bradinger actually up there in the mix there in P9. Then on the Xfinity side of things, Mike Harmon currently in the playoffs. I don't believe that's going to stick, but Riley Herbst at the very bottom there. Now, we're going to check out the Cup Series playoff grid after the first race of the Daytona 500. Cindric up there in P3. We're 10th in the playoff standings. Chastain currently the last car in with Logano on the outside looking in. There, as you see, Brandon Jones in P2, Bubba Wallace P4, Haley in P5, and McDowell in his final race, actually up in P8 in the points, but of course that is not going to stick as he is now calling it a career at the end of this episode. So it's going to be interesting to see how that new team does with Live Fast now replacing the 34. But just before we end this episode, I just want to say thank you to the Go On Racing members of MJ, Aiden, James, Joseph 9001, RJ, Timothy, Bubba Jr., Illinois Diecast, Devin Roth, NASCAR Collector 3, a new one, and as well as Movement. I really appreciate you guys hopping on board. It helps me out a lot. I'll be putting all your names on my car at a few points throughout the season, and that will do it though for this episode. Thank you for watching, everybody, and have yourselves a great day.